Hello, fifth grade. We're going to do more work today on dividing whole numbers by fractions. I'm in your workbook on page 154. I'm going to do a couple of problems for examples on the top part and then go over some of the word problems. So number one is 7 divided by 3/4. So remember that when you divide a whole number by a fraction, the first thing that you have to do is change the whole number into a fraction. So it'd be 7 over 1, and then you multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So the divisor is 3/4. So the reciprocal would be 4/3. So then I just multiply 7 times 4 equals 28. 1 times 3 equals 3. And I need to change that into a mixed number. 3 goes into 28 9 times with 1 left over. 9 1/3. That's number 1. Now let's look at number 8. Do the first one and the last one on the top part. So number 8 is 24 divided by 16/5. All right, so I need to rename my whole number as a fraction, so 24 over 1, and then multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So it'd be 5/16. Okay, now I see that I can simplify the 24 and 16 by dividing by 8. 8 goes into 16 twice. 8 goes into 24 3 times. And then I get 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2. 15 halves, which equals 7 1/2. Right, now I'm going to go on to the word problems. Let's look at number 9. I'm not going to solve the whole thing, but I'm going to get you started. It said, explain why 3 divided by 2/5 and 5 divided by 2/3 have the same quotient. Well, let's look at those. So this is number 9. 3 divided by 2/5 and 5 divided by 2/3. All right. If I rename my whole number, it would be 3 over 1 times the reciprocal of my divisor. That would be 3 over 1 times 5 halves. Now if I come over here, rename 5 as 5 over 1, then multiply by the reciprocal of my divisor, 3 halves. Now look at your numerators and your denominators and what you are multiplying and see if you can figure out why both of these would have the same quotient. And then you can skip number 10, but then number 11. You're skipping number 10 because it's having you divide a fraction by a whole number, and we haven't done that yet. That's our next lesson. So number 11, it tells you that you have a piece of paper that's 8.5 inches by 12 inches. It says the paper is cut into 20 equal 8.5 inch strips. What is the width of each of these strips? Describe what you did. Okay, well, let's think about it. If we have a piece of paper that's 12 inches long, and it's 8.5 inches wide and 12 inches long. And you're cutting it into 20 strips. That means you're going to do 20 strips. Okay? Each of them is going to be 8.5 inches wide. They're going to be little skinny strips though. So you want to figure out how wide each one is. Okay, so that means you're going to take 12, because you're going to divide this side 12 by 20, because you're going to have 20 strips. So 12/20 inches is how wide each strip is, but make sure you put 12/20 in simplest form. Okay, and then number 12, you have to look at this problem and figure out what this student did incorrectly. Okay, so just go ahead and complete 154. You do not have to do number 10.